It is a beautiful Wednesday night here in the metro area from Montclair, New Jersey, on the campus of Montclair State at MSU Soccer Park at Pittsburgh Field. This is the USL, and it's the New York Red Bulls 2 taking on the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Tonight we have got two teams that are red hot coming into this one. Pittsburgh has won 4 straight. The Red Bulls 2 unbeaten in their last 6. You see their last wins, 5-1 for New York over Hartford over the past weekend, and it was Slow Park Rangers the victim for Pittsburgh, 3-2. Alongside Mike Grella, the former New York Star, I'm Matt Harmon. Good to be with you here tonight. And Mike, this one obviously a big one for both of these teams, kind of getting to the stretch run before the playoffs.
Absolutely. Both teams coming in really hot right now. Red Bull on a 9 or I think it's 8 game unbeaten streak, and the Riverhounds also very defensive, compact team, going to be tough to break down tonight.
Our highlight player is Nico Brett for Pittsburgh. He's been very good in his 20 games that he's played in, 7 goals and 2 assists, certainly putting the ball in the back of the net, something you are very familiar with and something that's so important at any level.
Yeah, clever player, fast player, and obviously a very dangerous player with 7 goals and 2 assists in 20 matches. He's a guy to look out for tonight.
On the flip side for New York Red Bull 2 tonight, they've got some of the MLS guys up, including that guy, Tom Barlow, who played in the MLS game over the weekend in Los Angeles tonight. Going to get a good run, 10 goals in his 12 games here. He's got a couple of goals with the Red Bulls as well. He's a guy that can do so many things for this New York Red Bull 2
Yeah,
team.
he has a lot of big goals here at the USL level and a lot of big goals in the MLS as well. So he's a guy to look out for tonight. Very exciting player to watch, very direct, stays between the boxes, and always a threat.
Pittsburgh, a 3-0 winner when these teams played earlier. We'll get it up and going for you when we return after this quick break. It's USL action here on a Wednesday night.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
Gets it back. He will take a strike. Played in. Lauro gets a hand to it.
Denied by Lauro from point blank.
He's standing on his head right now.
He hands it to Lima and a hat trick.
Barlow putting it in, back of the net. Deposited in by Jared Stroud. New York puts the exclamation point on this one tonight.
With Mike Grella, I'm Matt Harmon. We're back here from MSU Soccer Park. Should be a good one. Pittsburgh coming in 6th place in the Eastern Conference, 10 wins, 3 losses, and 8 draws. Here is the lineup for the Riverhounds, a pretty defensive-minded lineup. Go back to the game that these teams played when Pittsburgh won 3-0. They are making just one change to that starting 11 that comes here tonight. Nico Brett, we talked about. Kevin Kerr, good player. It's a very experienced lineup, a lot of older players that the Riverhounds have. For this New York Red Bull 2 team, we swap gears over to them. First place right now in the Eastern Conference, a very MLS kind of lineup tonight with names like Nealis, Duncan, Bezecourt, Barlow, and Omir Fernandez, the player out of Wake Forest, the latest homegrown signing for New York, coming down for his first Red Bull 2 game. Our head coaches tonight, very experienced guys. Mike, John Wallenick obviously has been here with New York Red Bull 2, does a fantastic job with ever-changing pieces.
Yeah, the most impressive thing with John's New York Red Bull 2 side is that they're always there. They're always performing no matter what the heat or what the situation. They're always playing really well and fighting really hard to the end.
Bob Lilly, who won the USL Cup back in 2015 with Rochester. He's been a head coach for a long time. Very structured, organized type of head coach.
Yeah, everything you like in a coach. You know, he thinks it through. They're very organized. They're very compact. And, you know, they're not necessarily just defensive. They do move up and down in a pack. So very, very good coach.
Red Bulls, as you can see, will be in their red jerseys tonight. Pittsburgh in the white tops with the black shorts. Hoping that the weather holds out. It's been on and off rain. I'm not sure coming over from Long Island if you had any of it. Coming up the Parkway Turnpike, I ran into a massive thunderstorm along the way.
No, thank God I didn't. But I ran into something much worse than the thunderstorm. It was just 2 hours of traffic on the GW.
That's normal, though, isn't it, for this kind of day? That's every day.
Absolutely.
Looks like it'll be New York Red Bull 2 to start with the opening kick. Looking forward to this one. Hope you can settle in for the next 90 minutes with us and enjoy some USL action. Two of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. That's Preston Kilwine, the youngster out of Florida Gulf Coast University. Played wide on the right side for Duncan. Try and stretch the field here for Barlow.
And this will be a tough matchup tonight for a lot of reasons for New York Red Bull 2. I mean, you just get the sense. I was down there with some of the Pittsburgh Riverhound players earlier, and just the size of some of them. Some big boys, and they love to compete, very organized. So we'll New York Red Bull 2 side will get tested tonight.
Here's Fernandez holding off, trying to get around Ryan James. Kofi on the deck for Duncan. You'd have to say in this one, you look at it and the way that the teams like to play, you're obviously super familiar with the Red Bull style. Hard pressing, maybe a smaller type lineup tonight. It's almost quickness versus strength and size.
Yeah, it is in a lot of ways, and you know the way that they both are going to try to play this game, it's going to really match up well because you know you have a Red Bull, the New York Red Bull 2 side that's going to want to press and play long balls, and then you've got the Pittsburgh Riverhounds that want to sit back and sort of hit on the counter and not give too much up. So it will be a really good balance. I think New York Red Bull 2 side, you know, they struggle the most against the teams that set up this way. You know, that play hard and play compact and sort of hit on the counter and don't leave much space for you to attack.
Foul on Kofi. So Pittsburgh able to reset it. This is Conrado Forbes, 31-year-old, most recently with Rochester. You might hear that a lot tonight. Bob Lilly with his ties to the Rhinos back in their days as being one of the better teams in USL. He has imported a lot of his older players.
That's right. Loads of experience for them tonight on the field.
Kyle Morton among them, the starting keeper tonight. 12 games so far this year. Has lost just one, 7-1-4. Adewale doing battle with Fernandez. Picked up by Robbie Mertz, former draft pick of the Colorado Rapids. There's Dos Santos, nifty little back heel. Played across to the top of the 18. Chipped into space by Forbes, but nobody on the other end of it. You saw Dos Santos earlier before the game. I saw him in a game when he was still with Ottawa a year ago. He is a big, tall, physical specimen playing up top.
Yeah, I mean, if you can see the size of him from here, but I saw him, you know, right up, you know, from 2 feet away. He's a really big guy, and you know, you get on the wrong side of him in the box, and the ball comes in, and you're gonna be in trouble.
Did have a goal when these teams played earlier this season. Ball chipped down here for Nico Brett. Brett, a guy who's also been able to find the net this year. He's got 7 goals. Dos Santos, since coming here to the Riverhounds, has 6. I think the interesting way that Pittsburgh plays with those 2 up top, Brett kind of the smaller, quicker guy. Dos Santos can be that almost hold-up type forward.
And I love that partnership. I've always been a big fan of the big number 9, big, you know, sort of center forward, paired up with the smaller, quick guy who can be elusive and tricky. So I think it's always a really natural, good combination to have, and really hard for 2 center backs to keep a hold of them.
Off the throw, Nealis to restart. That's tapped out by Kevin Kerr. Kerr, a longtime member of this Pittsburgh organization, comes into tonight number 2 all-time in franchise history in games played. Kilwine with the long service. It will trickle into the box for Morton.
Both teams, their intention, the start of this game, it's only 4 minutes in, but you can tell that all the players are up for it. I mean, both teams really fast. They're moving quick. The ball's moving quick. They're challenging for balls. A lot of 50-50 challenges. And again, only 4 minutes in, but for me, the sign of 2 really good coaches that have a very good grasp of their teams.
Here's Stroud in transition. Barlow just offside. Flag coming up. That will be the combination that New York will try and work heavy tonight. Jared Stroud, who has been one of the best in the USL this year, comes in 10 goals, 8 assists, team of the week.
And I'm not sure he's offsides. Yeah, he's not offsides. So unlucky for New York Red Bull 2, unlucky for Jared and Tom Barlow there. But, you know, Stroud, there's not much that he can't do. Such a well-rounded player.
Duncan trying to work out of traffic. Ahead for Kofi. Duncan taken down, but the foul will go the other way. Let's be fair, too. You haven't really seen many offsides that the AR has ever gotten right. Wouldn't that be accurate?
Yeah, that's I mean,
any 50-50 type call, they're always wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the end of a few that were harsh, I think. I'd like to think at least. But now with the VAR in most leagues, you don't there's not much discussion with the offsides, but that was certainly not offsides, and Tom Barlow gets robbed of a goal early on here.
Jordan Dover with the throw. That's Dos Santos. You see him go right up over the top of Lemma.
Yeah, huge mismatch there in the air.
Kilwine to slow it down. He'll play Luba off on the left side. 4-2-3-1 tonight for this Red Bull team, with Barlow the lone front runner. It's kind of shaped up for Pittsburgh almost into a 5-4-1, with Dos Santos almost being a guy who will drop into the midfield but then also pressure as a second forward.
Yeah, to me, it looks like a 5-3-1-1. You know, Dos Santos is definitely sitting in that spot. You know, that to me is a little funny because you'd like to see him, you know, the high guy up between the center backs, sort of knocking stuff down for Nico, Brett. But you know, this is their combination and it works and it's effective. But to me, it looks like a 5-3-1-1.
Barlow to chase. Nealis and Kilwine will try and get there before Brett does. They'll drop it into the box for Loro. Good switch by Kofi.
Yeah, you know, Omir Fernandez there, you'd like to see him. He's inside. He's tucked inside there. He's trying to be an option for Kofi, but you'd like to see him give a little bit more natural width. I think that gives Kofi a chance to make a play. You know, he was sort of left kind of stranded there in the midfield with the ball.
Let's talk about Fernandez a little bit, a guy who signed as a homegrown player, played at Wake Forest, just 20 years old. He's been on the MLS roster, has seen time in some pretty big games. This is his first game tonight with New York Red Bull 2, which in a lot of cases, especially here in the Red Bull organization, young guy, if you're kind of looking for minutes, you could always come down and play a game. I think at this point of the year, a guy that they expect probably to contribute in the playoff push, meaning the MLS team, they need him to get minutes and keep his fitness up.
No question. The most important, I get asked questions about what young soccer players should be doing and who they should be playing for and what sort of training regimens they should have. And I always, you know, give them the same answer. The most important place you can be and the most important thing you can do is play and get minutes. So this is going to be awesome for him tonight to get these minutes and to get these experiences, because you know, the New York Red Bull organization knows that he's going to play a part in the playoff push. So really important night for him, and this is so great to have this year. This field, this setup with with a really competitive team.
Quick corner taken. Stroud taking it down near the end line. Floats it over the top. Too much for Nealis, but he does get there. Able to drop it to Duncan, and it'll be a Pittsburgh throw. You do think, though, with a younger player, right? How are you viewing that when you get moved down, even if it's just for a game? You got to take it as, Mike, I think you said it perfectly. You got to get minutes, and your minutes can come in a lot of different ways. If you're not getting them, in Fernandez's case, he was in the 18 in the LAFC game for New York Red Bulls, didn't get any time, has kind of not gotten a ton of time. He needs to get minutes. It's part of his progression.
Yeah, in some ways it feels like a regression when when you're with the first teams all year, and this is your first game for the New York Red Bull 2 side. But in a lot of ways, you have to approach this game. His mentality tonight has got to be spot on. He's here. He's in the team, and if I'm him, I'm working as hard as I possibly can to get my minutes up, to get my fitness up, and to get in goal-scoring situations and become dangerous.
You can see sliding in there, Dover. Goal kick for New York. We're just about 10 minutes in to this first half. This is the second and last regular season meeting that is scheduled between these two teams. We mentioned Pittsburgh got the better of New York the first time they played, which was at the end of June, the 22nd, a 3-0 shutout win for the Riverhounds.
Yeah, and so far it's been a good mix of direct balls, and once they get the ball down, they do try to play a little bit both teams. So
Joe Greenspan looking off to the right side. Last touch by Pittsburgh. They will chase New York Red Bull 2 back to restart this throw at a more proper location. Good step there by Nealis to keep it alive. Lemma into space for Duncan. Fernandez to slow it down. Tune in to ESPN News on August 21st at 7 p.m. for a Wednesday night soccer matchup between two of the best in the East. North Carolina FC welcoming in the Tampa Bay Rowdies with playoff positioning battles starting to heat up. See it all August 21st at 7 p.m. on Wednesday night soccer. That's on ESPN News.
And what we're seeing here now with New York Red Bull 2, they want to play in big spaces. They want the game to be end-to-end. They want to sort of play these 50-50 balls and then pick you off and get a chance at goal. But right now, what Pittsburgh is doing is look how compact their lines are, and they're making it very difficult, forcing New York Red Bull 2 to be more.
Stroud into space, was able to serve it across. Barlow coming in late. Save made by Morton.
Forcing New York Red Bull 2 to be more patient in their approach, and that's not their natural, their natural way of playing. There's not their natural method of playing.
Whistle called on that replay on New York. Got John Wallenick up off the bench. Was unhappy with the whistle. I've had the time since we started doing games radio-wise. Steve Jolly and I do them for the MLS team. Come down every once in a while and do these USL games, which I absolutely love. And spending and talking with John Wallenick is always a treat. He is the perfect person for a job like this.
Yeah, no question about it. And I, just now was asking him a lot of questions about what his roles and responsibilities are at this with New York Red Bull 2, and he loves it. He's doing a fantastic job. Like I said earlier, his teams are always ready to play, and that says a lot about him as a manager, about his character, that no matter what situation this New York Red Bull 2 team is in, they're always ready to play. They have the right mentality, the intensity is top level, and that's impressive.
Stroud looking for space. Throw-in coming for New York. Of course, the magical year for this Red Bull 2 team was 2016 when they won the regular season championship and the USL Cup.
See, in this frame here, you'd like to see width from Kyle Duncan. You'd like to see him way more on that line. He's just too far inside there, and there's no option. There's no other side of the field. There's nowhere to really play. And when things are congested, you'd like to see the ball being switched and the field being switched so that Pittsburgh has to shift and move, and that's when spaces and little things open up. But if you're narrow, I think you become very easy to mark.
Bezecourt was fouled. Set piece coming from 45, 50 yards out for Lemma. 15th minute, we are scoreless between Pittsburgh and New York Red Bull 2. And with his left towards the top of the 18. Kept in by Kilwine. Duncan with space. To his left off the service. Kofi able to pick it back up, keep possession for New York. It'll be a Riverhound throw. We'll have plenty of time to talk about the schedule for both of these teams coming up, but thinking back to that conversation that you and I both had with Coach Wallenick before the game, these home games extremely important for New York because they're more road heavy come September and October.
Yeah, right after this game, they've got 3 on the bounce away, and they're fairly close to each other, so they're gonna need numbers, and it's gonna be a difficult stretch. So these home games are the ones where you need to get all 3 points.
They pace the Eastern Conference right now. 14 wins, 4 losses, and 5 draws.
Yeah, they've been in fantastic form, and just the sheer amount of goals that they've been scoring and the chances they've been creating is really fantastic. Fun to watch.
The last game that they lost, ironically enough, was the game against Pittsburgh. Duncan ahead for Fernandez. Adewale able to win it back for Pittsburgh.
I like that challenge from Kofi there.
Mertz into space for Brett. Too much pace coming across for Dos Santos. And then he will commit the foul on Luba.
Yeah, Dos Santos there, you'd like to see him in the box, and when you've got that kind of size. See here, just a sloppy foul, but you'd like to see him in the box, which is why it's strange to me when I see him off the striker, and that's okay to be off the striker as your initial starting spot or point, but you'd like to, in those situations, both strikers got to be in the box, no question about it.
Luba's up, looks like he's okay.
And now, almost 18 minutes in, not much has gone on. You expect that when 2 teams are evenly matched. Not much space to attack. The Rebel 2 line is really organized right now, and they're quite narrow. So, they haven't given up much space either. So it's been a pretty tight-knit game.
Which is kind of what we thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been quite defensive, and it's good. When teams are at higher quality, higher levels, usually it's a more defensive game, in my opinion.
In the box for Morton. Here comes pressure. James able to get it past Fernandez, who works back to win it for New York. This is better from New York, even the last 30 seconds. Bunch of balls in a row, but then finally foiled by Pittsburgh.
And this is the counterattack now that I was mentioning earlier. How they want to break out fast in the counter, get guys running in behind, but Rebel 2 recover really well. Get into their block, get into their shape. These are the games when there's really not a lot of space. These are the games where the type of pass you deliver it, the way you deliver it, which foot you're passing to is really, really important. Those small details are so important. Your first touch, your second touch, you know, taking pictures of the field, knowing where guys are, because there's not much space. So to find that space, you got to be really, really good technically.
Which is always a challenge, I feel like, when you watch New York Red Bull 2. We talked about just how organized the team is always ready to play. The one thing that maybe is a little disadvantage for someone like John Walenek in the structure of an MLS team having the USL team is from week to week, he's not always sure who he's going to have.
Really difficult for a coach, I think. You know, he doesn't know who's coming in and how many minutes they need and how many minutes they don't need.
Barlow with an open net. Barlow puts it into the back of the net.
Good finish from Barlow.
Beautiful finish from Tom Barlow, who picks up right where he left off here at the USL level. That's his 11th. It started with the Red Bull pressure. Kyle Morton unhappy, but he's going to have to share in a little bit of the blame. New York has themselves a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, just a huge mistake in the back. Good finish, really good composed finish from Tom Barlow, but it's really a gift in the end, and it's the New York Red Bull 2 MO, really. They got exactly what they were looking for. Ball sort of gets picked off. Tom Barlow's in the right spot. He composes himself and slots it away, but you wouldn't expect anything else. He's a really good finisher.
Started with the pressure from Chris Lemma, a check it from Jared Stroud, I should say. Barlow's got it, and New York will play from in front.
Now the Pittsburgh Riverhounds are known to be a defensive, compact team. Now what do you do? This is the question and the difficulty with defensive teams. You're down 1-0. Like, do you come out of your formation? Do you come out of your compactness? Do you take more risks, or do you just stay in it? And Red Bull 2 are a tough team to play against when they're up a goal.
Bezecourt, top of the 18. Morton will grab it. Fans follow the New York Red Bulls 2 and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN Plus, home to the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN Plus and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at espnplus.com. With the former Red Bull Mike Grella, I'm Matt Harmon. New York Red Bull 2 with the 1-0 advantage, the 11th of the season for Tom Barlow. Chipped into space for Duncan. Duncan pushed down. Referee says play on.
Yeah.
Duncan trying to keep it alive and does. It'll wind up being a goal kick. That was interesting. The AR had the flag waving. I think everyone was waiting for the whistle, and the referee said play on.
Yeah, it's not a foul. Kyle Duncan trips on the ball here. So really good refereeing. You know, he waves the flag down and just keeps them going. The players actually should just continue. Unless they hear a whistle, they should continue.
John Walenek asking the same question. That is the man in the middle. That's his prerogative. He can always wave off what the AR may or may not see.
They finally get the ball down here now. Let's see.
Kerr chipping into space, looking for Dover. Mike, short of that goal from New York, I think you could say in the first 20 minutes, the style of Pittsburgh maybe was kind of winning out just even a little bit more than what New York Red Bull 2 would want to do.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, really, not much has really happened tactically, and I don't see any team really.
Bouncing ball, still here for Brett. Takes a shot, it's deflected. Picked up by Mertz, that's also deflected. And then finally cleared out.
I don't think any team had the upper hand, really. You know, but when you're playing against New York Red Bull, too, if you're Pittsburgh, you need to know that you can't make any mistakes at the back.
Offside flag coming up. I think actually what you just said was in a backhanded way what my point was. I think Pittsburgh's probably the happier team to just kind of make it almost an ugly defensive type game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I think New York Red Bull 2 have almost played their game in the first 20 minutes. It's been sort of ping-ponging around, and the ball's up in the air a lot. It's been compact and tight. So certainly Pittsburgh has gotten their way, I guess you would say. But now, in a lot of ways, Red Bull also have gotten their way because they were patient and they picked it off, and Tom Barlow gets a goal. So now where do we go from here? It's going to be New York Red Bull 2 is going to be difficult to play against right now.
25th minute. Throw-in coming for Pittsburgh. Riverhounds coming into the game tonight. 41 goals for, just 22 against. Plus 19, now plus 18 with Tom Barlow's goal for New York.
And you can see DeSantos just getting frustrated, going through the back, sloppy fouls. Hasn't been able to get himself in the game.
Stroud was unhappy. I think you make it worse for Dos Santos because he's so much bigger. Those fouls always look worse when you're that big.
Yeah, that's true. But he knew what he was doing there. He really wanted to have his presence felt there. He knew he was late. So just another sloppy foul. Hasn't done anything really aside from the 2 fouls that he's committed.
Nealis goes back to where it came from with Kilwine.
And in these situations, if you're New York Red Bull 2, I'd like to see him really just keep the ball. Let them come out of their shape. Just come get it. Pass it around and say to Pittsburgh, go ahead, come get it, instead of forcing passes in. Things will open up.
Good direct ball by Kofi. Gets it back from Fernandez. Into space for Luba. Stroud on the flank, left side. Chips it in, too high for Barlow. Off the short hop for Morton.
Like, that's a perfect example for me. Stroud chips it into the goalkeeper there and to Kyle Morton. And what if he just swings it back around? What if they go back around? And what if they, they just keep passing the ball around and don't go for a goal and don't try to create chances? Because it's so compact, you're almost fighting a losing battle. Just let them come out of their shape, pass them to death, let them come out of their shape, and then you can pick them off. And the second goal will come much easier than trying to force it.
Luba, the 23-year-old out of Fordham. Kilwine, overlapping run for Luba. Dummied by Barlow, who knew Fernandez was behind him, but just a little offline.
Yeah, aside from the goal, there hasn't been too much going on. Good switch.
Here's Brett inside the 18. Lofts it over the top.
I'll tell you the idea was fantastic because as he's running onto that ball, I'm thinking he's basically trapped. He has no angle, no back lift to shoot. So really, really clever idea there. Try to chip the goalkeeper.
On the deck for Fernandez. Left for Duncan. Ryan James to chip forward. Came up on Brett, an unfortunate bounce for the Pittsburgh striker.
Yeah, you sometimes get that with the turf. You get a little bit of an awkward bounce or a bigger bounce than you would expect. Yeah,
Mike, how different is the game, grass versus turf? Completely different with the new kind of more grass-like turf surfaces that they have in today's day and age? Is it a completely different game?
I'll say it is. It is a different game. It's just it's a faster game, and in a lot of ways, you would think because it's faster, you have more time on the ball, but actually, because it's so fast, the ball's pinging around so much, so you always feel like you have less space and less time on the ball and on the turf field. And I'm not sure what the statistics say if it's more dangerous or not, but certainly it's probably not as good for you on your knees and your joints and stuff like that. I think every soccer player prefers grass, I would say. What I'm surprised about is the front three, the second three, I guess you would say. Vince Bezecourt, Omir Fernandez, and Jared Stroud. I think Stroud with the least amount of experience in the MLS. He's been getting around. He's been doing things. He's creating fouls, creating chances. He's been the best of the three so far.
He's had a really good season for this New York Red Bull team. He's going to get a little talking to from the referee right now. Stroud has been fouled a bunch so far in this first half hour, and I think he's about at his limit, waiting for some sort of yellow card to come off against someone in a white uniform.
Yeah, you'd like to see Omir Fernandez and Vince Bezecourt get going. You know how talented they are and what special players they are.
Ball chipped in here for Fernandez. Kept in by Bezecourt. 31st minute. It's still New York with that 1-0 advantage. A goal for Tom Barlow. Down for the night from the senior team.
Yeah, Pittsburgh just really, not really doing much, just sort of going long a lot, really direct, not being able to create much. It's really easy to play against when you just sort of direct all the time. Not opening, not really running into spaces, not threatening in behind. Offensively, really haven't done much.
Barlow dispossessed. Duncan able to get there before Brett. Elects to play it out near the midfield line.
A lot of hopeful passing.
Kofi, good read to come forward. Has Stroud in front. Barlow in front. Leaves for Bezecourt. Fernandez just a little bit off with that touchback. Get updates and alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for New York Red Bulls 2, then click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus, get reminders on New York Red Bull 2 next match. Go to ESPN.com now and click follow for your club. Here's the veteran Bob Lilly. He is a Fort Monmouth, New Jersey native, so well accustomed to the Garden State. Won the USL Cup Championship in 2015 with Rochester.
And he's been successful in the game. And, if you're going to build a team, you build it from the back up. You build it from your defense up. It's the most important part. And he's done that. He's built teams that were defensive, that were hard to play against, and he's been successful.
Well, I think if you look at, so this is his second year here. Last year, 15, 5, and 14. You only lose 5 games. You only win 15. A lot of draws. This year kind of shaping up to be the same. They're 10, 3, and 8, which would almost indicate exactly what you said. A lot of defensive-minded, low-scoring games where ties or draws, depending on how you like to refer to them, would be more common than wins and losses.
Yeah, and it's interesting if they can get themselves in the playoffs, then they're a team that's really tough to play against. They don't lose much. They don't give up a lot, and that's hard to play against.
This is their 7th game on the road this season. 3-3-3 across the board. They'll get an opportunity here for their first set piece coming off a corner. This is where we'll see how much that difference in size and strength plays a role.
Well, you have Sean Nealis and you have Kilwine back there. They're pretty big boys. You got Tom Barlow back there, so they've got some size for the set pieces. I think. I don't think you'll see a huge difference on some of the set pieces, but
Forbes to whip it in. Much too much on it. And a goal kick coming as we're just about set to enter the 35th minute.
Some of these games when it's 0-0, you're always, you're always, as a neutral, you're always hoping for a goal. We need a goal to get this thing going. And this game sort of feels like that even still now, even though we've gotten a goal. It sort of seems like both teams are really content at just, playing in this compact sort of tight game where, not a lot is really going on.
Good ball over the top for Kerr. Handled by Kilwine. Given back away to Dos Santos. Dover. Up the line for Mertz. Back to Dover.
Great turn.
In the 18. Able to get it back. Tried to cut it back across. He had Nico Brett waiting at the 6. And the second time at about a minute's time frame, Pittsburgh will get a corner.
Great turn from Dover in there. Tight positions. He used his body the right way, made some space. Just missing that final ball.
Forbes to hit with his right foot. Got a head on it, Lauro with the save. Still in play, and it's knocked down, cleared out by Kilwine. Lauro with a one-handed outstretched save to keep it as a clean sheet.
Yeah, Lauro's been fantastic. I mean, all season long when he's called upon to make a big save, he's always there. Good header to the far post. Fantastic header. Really good save. To see it through all those bodies and then get there. Really good fundamental goalkeeping there.
Third corner. In swinger, and it's in for Pittsburgh. We'll have to take a look at the replay. I think Greenspan did wind up flicking it in, but it was a brilliant ball put in by Canardo Forbes.
Yeah, did Greenspan just get the chance before that? This is ball across.
Yep.
And just as I finished saying, really good fundamental goalkeeping. Evan Lauro he kind of sells himself, and he's not in the goal there. He's not in a position to get the ball, and this is really bad defending, really bad breakdown, and actually it's bad goalkeeping. Nobody around Greenspan. He's got to be one of the biggest guys out there. No one around making it difficult for him. He just kind of sort of gets a free tap in at the back post. So tight game so far. Two kind of chippy goals.
Greenspan with his second of the season, 6'6" defender, also out of the Garden State, hails from Westfield, New Jersey, about 35 minutes south of where we are here in Montclair.
Give Kofi there the type of delivery, the type of pass, where do you want to lead him, and just not good enough there, and sort of easy giveaway. Get Pittsburgh Riverhounds back into the game now.
James up the line. Fernandez able to get New York a goal kick. We are in the 38th minute. First half action here from MSU Soccer Park. Lauro to take his time putting it back in. Kofi winning it in midfield.
Yeah, and New York Rebel 2 just insisting on playing really narrow. And I'm not sure if it makes too much sense against a team that is really narrow and compact. I think the only space you're going to get a team that's against a team that's narrow and compact is on the wings.
Dos Santos leads off for Brett. Dover with that direct ball over the top. Duncan has to work back against Brett. Referee waves it off. It's still a live ball, however. Lauro will come out and dive on it.
Yeah, Duncan, I thought for a second, got on the wrong side of Brett. Did really well to recover and make that play. See here, he almost gets on the wrong side of him, and that could have been a really dangerous situation. But you know, he does enough to put Brett off as well. You know, Tom Barlow, you see that run there between the center backs, always hunting, always looking for a chance. Really good center forward play.
Duncan ahead, Bezecourt coming across the field. Kerr with the turn. The switch across from left to right. Good initial ball work by Dover, but maybe one touch too many. Pittsburgh able to keep possession. Find the former Wolverine in Robbie Mertz to the University of Michigan.
Yeah, the game's been a little slow. It's been a little chippy, but the commitment's there. The intensity's there. I mean, both teams really want to win. Both teams doing the right things, listening to their coaches, working very, very hard, and that's why you're seeing this tight game.
5 remaining in this first half, 41st minute. Good vision by Kofi. Bezecourt offline for Barlow.
Yeah, and Vince hasn't been at his best. Vince Bezecourt has not been at his best tonight, but you know, if you're a number 10 or you're an attacking player, you're a young kid or any player at any level, the ease of which he turns in the midfield there is really, really good. He's able to turn his entire body with one soft touch and really be on the move really quickly. And that's a good skill to know when you play in those positions anywhere in the center of the field. You know, the elegance of how good can you turn.
That's a good step by Forbes to keep the pressure on here for Pittsburgh. Running wide is James. Has to retreat back, but keeps possession for Pittsburgh. Then Kay Azil drops it back and restarts.
Sort of like a heavyweight fight, this game so far.
Other teams will certainly have a say come playoff time, but you'd have to think the way that Pittsburgh plays will be very difficult, as you mentioned earlier, Mike, to deal with in the playoffs. And just the talent and the pressing style of New York also difficult to play come playoff time.
Yeah, if I'm any other team, I don't want to play against these two teams. These two teams know exactly what they're doing. They have a clear identity, and they're very good at what they do.
Luba over the top. Stroud, good touch. Takes him inside the 18. Second shot opportunity there for Stroud. Morton had to knock it down near post.
Yeah, for me, Stroud's been fantastic. He can shoot, he can dribble, he knows when to take touches. Very high soccer IQ. Physical, always committed. He's been an impressive guy.
It does seem to be a recurring theme here at these Red Bull 2 games for Jared Stroud.
He leads by example more than anything. You know, he doesn't jump out of tackles. He can do everything. And for me, he leads a lot of guys by example.
Here's Brett. In for Dover, tapped out of danger by RB2.
And Dover's got the right idea. He's got some clever turns and some good movement. This is Stroud here. Yeah, just, from there it's difficult. The angles are difficult. Hard and low on the goalkeeper. Anything can happen. So I think he's done well there. But his ability to let the ball run past himself to open up that chance, really clever.
44th minute. It's 1-1 between Pittsburgh and New York Red Bull 2. Duncan trying to clear. Back into the defensive third for New York. Halftime coming up. We'll revisit our star players. We'll have a getting to know with Sebastian Elney. Look around the USL as well.
A little unorganized. You know, Jared Stroud now, the left of that front three, and he's on the right side of the field, and no one is occupying the left side. I think now you can see that Stroud and Omir Fernandez have switched. But again, there's got to be 20 yards between those three in terms of width. And I think it's just too narrow. I don't see the benefit of being right on top of each other like that.
You know, between Stroud, Bezecourt, and Fernandez, you have certainly three interchangeable pieces.
Yeah, really good players, awesome players, really good dribblers and good high soccer IQs. But they're just standing too close to each other, and it's making it really easy to defend against.
Just about at the 45-minute mark here. Should not have much stoppage time.
Really good, strong center forward play from Dos Santos there.
Just a minute. That's tipped in for Brett, and it's just over the top of his outstretched right foot. Good
Really
idea by Bernardo Forbes.
Yeah, awesome pass. It really was the right idea. I think Nico Brett just got a late jump on that. Yeah, and if you're Nico Brett, you want that one back, because I think if you're a little bit more alert, just a little bit more alert, that's a goal.
On. James looking into space for Dos Santos. Referee checks his watch. We're past the minute. And that will do it here in this first half.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
We are back here from Montclair, New Jersey, MSU Soccer Park. Mike Grella, Matt Harmon. We've got the call for you tonight. USL action with New York Red Bull 2 and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds all tied at 1. We take a peek at our star players to watch. Nico Brett so far for Pittsburgh. He's had one or two kind of open chances, one that you said he wishes he had back.
Yeah, he's been dangerous though. He's you know, you see in that play he's laying it off and running him behind, and he's getting himself in. He's in the game. He's involved, and he's done well so far. Just hasn't had that golden opportunity yet.
Comes into the night with 7 goals and 2 assists. Former member of the Portland Timbers organization, 27 years old. He'll certainly, one would think, be a handful for New York to deal with. Did have a goal at the time the first teams played. Tom Barlow, not offside that one, Mike Grella said.
Yeah,
He
should have 2 goals.
Might have had an opportunity for a second one here tonight, but he did get the Red Bulls' only goal. Pretty brilliant finish from the top of the 18.
Yeah, good. He looks like he's going to go to the near post, and then he opens up to the far post. So it's a composed finish. I mean, it looks easy. He still has a lot to do there, and he gets his goal.
11th goal of the year for Barlow at the USL level. One guy who we might see tonight at some point is Sebastian Elney, the former member of the University of Maryland. Makes you not probably smile all that much as a former Duke Blue Devil. Had 19 goals, 10 assists. Good young player, and someone that John Wallinack told us earlier, he's a guy that's been playing well. He'd like to maybe try and find him some minutes tonight. Yeah,
I like Sebastian Elney a lot. He can play anywhere in the front 4 positions there, in the 3 behind the striker or as the main striker. A lot of speed, a lot of strength. He's been getting himself in front of goal, and he's got a few goals now.
6'1", 180 pounds, signed with New York Red Bull 2 back in March of 2019. He does have 4 goals so far on the season. We will take a quick timeout, and when we return after this break, we'll take you around the league. We'll look at stats, standings, and a whole lot more. 1-1 between New York and Pittsburgh.
Fortune can hit from here. Oh!
McCarthy once more. Blasted back in, and it's a goal for North Carolina FC. Big shot, and he scored.
And Ben Spees lets one fly and drills it.
Coming and Opara and in. What a move!
Shot blocked, follow up, and that one blocked, ball still loose.
Hanley will try to create here. Gets it in. Here's Rowe. Up ahead. Continuing cuts back. Strike coming. And just beyond the reach of Mangles, it's in. Towards the box. Cuts around Ovalle. Goes down the strike. Philly on the save at the near post. Through the traffic. Knocks it on. Soto there. Back. The shot. And in. Josue Soto off the bench and putting Chattanooga up 2-1.
A little trickery now.
Take a look around what's taking place the USL in this Wednesday night game. It's New York Red Bull 2-1 and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds 1 as well. Our 3 USL storylines going into this game tonight. How about how good the Phoenix Rising have been? 13 straight wins. Solomon Asante, 16 goals, 11 assists. If you've seen any of the games from out there, the people in Phoenix have loved being part of that organization.
Yeah, really good organization, good for the game of football, and I know they're trying to get themselves in the MLS, but they've been fantastic in their record. I know Didier Drogba was there not too long ago, and he has a part in it, and it's been a good place to watch soccer and be a part of the game.
Still a lot of soccer left. The Legion working their way up the Eastern Conference. Tampa Bay struggling a little bit as of late. Just one other game on the schedule tonight. The Charleston Battery leading Loudoun United 1-0. Pair of teams in the Eastern Conference, and you kind of see the schedule, all those games coming up over the course of the weekend here in the USL. Here are your standings as they sit right now. As we mentioned, New York Red Bull 2 through 23 games, 14-4-5. They've got 47 points entering the night, 1 better than Tampa, 5 better than Nashville. I think the team to maybe keep an eye on is this Indy 11 team, Mike, because of the games in hand. They've got 12 wins already and way less games than everybody else.
Yeah, games in hand. You'd rather have the points than the games in hand, for sure. So
unless you're the team that has the games in hand, then you can say we've got the games in hand.
Exactly. So they could potentially be at 49 points, but obviously tough task. Always getting 9 points out of 3 games. So, but definitely keep an eye out for them.
Our stats so far on the night: 6 shots for Pittsburgh, just 2 so far for New York. I'm sure that's the one number for John Wallenick. I say, guys, we got to put a little bit more pressure on these guys, test Kyle Morton a little more.
Yeah, I'm interested to see these stats. I didn't realize that, you know, New York Red Bull 2 had 59% possession versus the 41% possession. It seemed like both teams, you know, kind of shared the possession, but you could see the shots. There's not many money chances being created here. It's a defensive game, you know, and they've struggled a bit, both teams, to get any real chances created.
And that possession number, 59%, thinking how the MLS team plays, and even here at the USL, possession is a number that sometimes with the pressing style you don't want a lot of possession.
Exactly. So it's been a strange game for New York Red Bull 2, and the game is being played out like Pittsburgh Riverhounds want it to be played out. Tight, compact, chippy, ball going back and forth. But New York Red Bull 2, like you say, they don't want the ball necessarily. They'd rather be pressing the ball and picking balls off and going straight to goal. And that's not how the game's going to set up tonight.
Another goal for Tom Barlow. That's the one for New York Red Bull 2. The equalizer for Joe Greenspan off the corner for Pittsburgh. 1-1 at the half. We come back with highlights, get you set for the start of the second half.
Lema gets it back. He will take a strike. Played in. Lauro gets a hand to it.
Denied by Lauro from point blank.
He's standing on his head right now.
He hands it to Lima and a hat trick.
Barlow putting it in, back of the net. Deposited in by Jared Stroud. New York puts the exclamation point on this one tonight.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
Getting set for the next 45 minutes, 1-1 between New York Red Bull 2 and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Pittsburgh with a win earlier this season over New York. Would love to get a point here on the road. Take a look at some of our highlights. Onside, offside. Those are the ones that forwards have nightmares back later when they watch those.
Yeah, actually, I heard about a goal that Tom actually scored in because the game got canceled because of weather. He didn't get credited for the goal, so even though he has so many goals, he's been unlucky a little bit.
Jared Stroud has certainly been active, as he has been in just about every New York Red Bull 2 game. A couple of balls into space. That's when New York Red Bull 2 could be at their best. A little bit of real estate, a little bit for Stroud to set things up.
Yeah, so natural for him to run into that space and then play the ball across. I mean, he's done everything. He's assisted, he's scored, he looks like he's competing. He's been the best of the front three in that line so
he
far.
Sets the goal up with pressure on Kyle Morton. The bad ball off the bounce from Bezecourt that Barlow gets his 11th of the year.
Good finish, but you're really lucky that it bounces right to him. So, but you know, sometimes being in those good positions, you bring that luck to you. So, hats off to him. He gets another one.
Give a lot of credit to Pittsburgh. You can see right at the back, Joe Greenspan kind of fought off and got away from his mark, was left open at the back post. And when you're 6'6", that's an easy tap-in.
Yeah, there's no one within 3 or 4 yards from him, so too easy. I think it's more of a defensive breakdown than anything else, but big, strong guy, you know, heads that one down. That's as easy as they get for him.
Here's your upcoming schedule. We set a lot of games on the road for this New York Red Bull 2 team. Nashville, Swope Park, Indy 11. Tough 3-game road trip coming up. Won't be back home until mid-September against the Charlotte Independents, and then right back on the road against St. Louis. Follow that up with a game at Louisville, one more home game against Charleston, and then 3 on the road in October. For Pittsburgh, another one on the road at North Carolina FC, back at home in the Steel City for Loudoun United, at Ottawa, Louisville City, and then Charleston. Should be a real fun stretch run for all the teams here in the Eastern Conference. And as John Wallenick told Mike and I before the game, with limited home games, you've got Pittsburgh tonight, Charlotte on the 13th of September, Charleston on the 27th. That's it. Just 2 more home games remaining after this one, so you've got to get max points.
Absolutely. These home games are massively important. And New York Red Bull 2, very good at home. So I would expect them to get the 3 points here tonight, but Pittsburgh Riverhounds not going to make that easy.
New York so far in the year 10-2-2 at MSU Soccer Park. In the red jerseys tonight, Pittsburgh in the white.
It's a great night for soccer. Temperatures are low. You know, they wet the turf. It's great conditions, perfect conditions. They got a nice little crowd out here, so really excited to see the second half and hope we can get some more chances.
Here's Tom Barlow, who has the goal for New York Red Bull 2. Get to spend some time with Barlow on road trips with the senior team. He is one of the nicest, I say kids, not in a disrespectful way, but he is one of the nicest kids you come across. He always has a smile on his face.
Yeah, I spoke to a friend of mine yesterday, and he went to a game in New York Red Bull Arena and was so impressed with how nice a lot of the players were. And I think a lot of the soccer guys in general, I think they're the best athletes with fan interaction and understanding what people feel and you know, inspiring kids to play the game. They're really good. They really understand it. They stay after, they sign autographs.
Quick shot off the bounce for Stroud to get us up and going here in the 46th minute. I used to hear stories like in the 2015, 2016, pretty good guy that would walk around, sign a lot of autographs, wore the number 13 jersey.
Yeah.
give that out pretty often.
Yeah, no, I was always very appreciative of the fans in New York, and it's where I'm from. So I take a lot of pride in wearing the New York Red Bull shirt, and it was something I was very proud and very happy to do for a lot of young kids and a lot of families and fans.
Here's Luba on the run at midfield. He'll take the touch, try and get around Dover. Greenspan came over. One of the rare times tonight we've seen those outside backs for New York try and push forward.
Love the aggressiveness of that play. You know, pushes it, and Luba just decides he's going to go for it. And I'll tell you what, he had some pace going down that wing, so they get a throw in deep in their end from it. So being aggressive does help, and it's going to help this game for sure.
Looked like there could have been a foul down near the corner. Red Bull 2 has a player down. I think it's Luba.
It's Vince Bezecourt.
Bezecourt, you're right.
It's strange. It looked like it was not a foul. It looked like nothing much happened, but obviously Vince Bezecourt shaken up from that.
Does have a smile on his face walking back, which is always good to see. Duncan's chip was deflected, run down by Nealis. What do you think coming out of the locker room was the message from John Wallenick to try and maybe tactically change the style of this game a little bit?
Tactically, I don't think he said much because I still see sort of the same setup and the same sort of things with the lines that the team is in and the width that they have. So it looks the same to me. I know in the last play, Kyle Duncan there is playing in the midfield. He's in the circle in the midfield and he loses the ball. And it's not because he can't pick a pass out. He's very good with the ball. It's because there's no options. There's not enough width. So tactically, I don't think he said much or changed much. I would say though they do look like they have a new gear here. They look like they're passing it faster, being more aggressive on the ball. So I think that he would have said to them, you know, to just give more in this game.
Duncan matched up here with Dos Santos, both just going for the ball and a little head-to-head contact.
And Santos has had a tough night tonight. Hasn't really been able to put his body around and hold the ball up and bring his teammates into play. Hasn't been in front of goal at all. So he's had a tough night. He's been in a lot of big collisions as well.
Bob Lilly looking things over. Dos Santos looks a little weary as he will go and get checked. Forbes with a chance to whip it in. Pittsburgh was looking for Greenspan, who already has a goal off a set piece. Kept alive by Kerr. He puts it towards the back bar. Duncan able to slide over, knock it out of danger, but will give a corner.
Yeah, Greenspan just feels like he can score at every chance now. He's really hunting for the ball in the box. You can see, and he's definitely a guy you want to get a hold of right now. You know, I am not a big fan of marking in his own system. I think man marking is better, just because, you know, even if you're not winning the header, you're you know, touch tight to a guy and you're not letting him get a free header. So I think that always helps.
Dos Santos back in. Whipped in by Forbes. Same spot as the goal was scored from, towards that back post. That time looking for Dos Santos, who gets mixed in with Duncan.
And Dos Santos' night has just been a lot of the same thing. I mean, he's late to the ball and he just kind of pushes you over. So he's had a tough night.
Laura to come over and take it. We're in the 51st minute. Barlow will stay down here for a second.
You see Greenspan there, really tough challenge. You know, big guy, jumps up, he kind of smashes Tom in that, and it's an awkward intervention. But these are the things that Tom Barlow will face in the MLS. These are the things that he will face in his career, and that's why tonight's a good test for him. He's going to play against guys like Greenspan a lot. Head-to-head, it looks like some head-to-head contact, but really tough in the challenge there.
Greenspan, before coming here to Pittsburgh, he was all league a season ago. Was with Minnesota United. 26 years old. You look at that roster, especially the starting 11 tonight for the Riverhounds, and it's a very veteran-laden roster. Morton, 25. James, 25. Greenspan, 26. Kerr, 30. Forbes, 31. Dos Santos, 29 among the players in here.
Yeah, experienced players, tough players, not scared.
Barlow waiting to be called back on. And now is. Lauro with not the best of clearance. Dos Santos to keep it alive. Kerr putting it back, and it's knocked over the top of the bar. Maybe a goal-saving header from Preston Kilwine.
Yeah, Kilwine, great defending there. You know, you never, as a defender, you never want to be facing your own goal, having to head the ball out, but he's done well there. Really last-ditch effort to save that chance. Dos Santos was waiting behind him to tap that in. Good pass from Kerr, and he's just waiting for it there. It's right on for him. So he, again, you know, unlucky a little bit there. But the good thing about being a striker is that you can play bad all game and you get a couple goals or even just one, and it can change the night. So Dos Santos certainly looking to make that happen.
Set to enter the 54th minute of play. Forbes, who's been the trigger man for all the set pieces for Pittsburgh, takes a corner. Swung out, and it will come as a goal kick.
Yeah, I think this game. I think this game could very well finish 1-1. And if not, if there is another goal, I think the team that scores next will probably win this. Not going to be many goals tonight, I don't think.
Barlow to keep it alive. His challenge is deflected. Fernandez trying to keep it in play. Morton is able to grab it down near the end line.
Dover, you know, his initial, you know, moves with the ball and understanding with the ball is really good. He knows how to create space for himself, and then his pass or his final product has been lacking. So, but I really like the way he sort of creates space for that first few, you know, when he first gets the ball. But then his final product, as you see again, it's just nothing really happens from it. Good control from Tom Barlow.
Chipped in the middle of the field. Bezecourt, whose touch deserted him there just a bit. Kilwine able to fight off Brett.
Kilwine really good defending again.
Stroud looking over the top for Barlow.
Really good ball.
Morton was able to read it and get out.
Again, Tom Barlow's positioning. In the middle of the two center backs looking to run behind. Very important.
Bezecourt. One back by Pittsburgh. Kerr puts a charge into it and just clears from one half of the field to the next.
Yeah, the two guys that I've seen struggle the most is Dos Santos and Vince Bezecourt. And it's not because maybe they're having a difficult night, but I think it's the position that they're playing. You know, they're playing in that number 10 position. They're supposed to be playing in between the midfield line and the defensive line. There's no space there, so they've got caught on the ball a lot.
Brett got a touch. Stroud has some room in front. Players on both sides. Wanted to force it through to Barlow. Was challenged in one back. Forbes will now control.
Oh, Greenspan, really good pass in the midfield there. And look at the switch of the pass really opens the New York Red Bulls 2 side up.
Here comes Kerr. Maybe hasn't been the prettiest first 10, 12 minutes, but certainly the energy level has picked up from both teams.
Absolutely. Both teams have, it's been a better second half. And, you know, what you're seeing is Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they're sitting back, and then you get a nice switch and a big, you know, sort of like a quick counter from them, and then you get the same thing from the New York Red Bull 2 side. So in a lot of ways, this really is a heavyweight bout. Both teams really tactically, slowly trying to figure out how to beat the other guy. It's been like a chess match. Oh.
A little bit dragged down by Mertz. That's an easy.
For me, that's a red card. I mean, I don't know.
I was going to say easy yellow, if not borderline red.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't know where a challenge like that comes from. It's no intention to win the ball. It's pretty dangerous.
Let's take another peek at this one, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it is a yellow card, but it's an outlandish tackle.
Fans of the USL unveiled its elite youth platform, USL Academy. This allows clubs at all levels across the USL develop its local youth and compete at the highest level across the United States, including the USL Academy Cup. For more information, visit uslsoccer.com/academy. Should be a fun next 30 minutes or so. Pittsburgh trying to steal points on the road, and New York Red Bull 2 looking to remain at the top of the Eastern Conference table.
Covey's done well to retain possession here. Really good job.
Two players slow to get up. That's opened things up for Duncan. 30 yards out, tried to switch from right to left. Lemma up the alley for Luba. Kilwine to restart. Kofi. Pass Bezecourt. Fernandez top of the circle. Luba back and forth with Stroud. Finally cleared by Greenspan.
Lemma, good job recovering. Game certainly opened up a little bit here in the second half.
Two-on-one developing here with Mertz. Trying to get Brett in transition. Good clean win by Nealis.
Nealis, good positioning there. Very alert. He could have been in danger there.
Over the top, Fernandez. Top of the 18, a shot and just missing to the far post, Omir Fernandez.
Yeah, good chance from Omir Fernandez there. He hasn't done anything except for this chance, but now in this chance here, he's done well because it bounces on the turf. It takes a higher bounce than he would have liked, as you can see there. So he's got to head it down into space, and he strikes it. He strikes it pretty solidly, but he's just got to try to hit the frame there. For me, he's done well to make some space and dealing with the bounces on the turf.
Bezecourt trying to keep it alive.
Again, Tom Barlow between the center backs, really threatening. That ball goes through, he's gone. He's in on goal.
Kerr, Dos Santos.
Amazing turn from Vince Bezecourt there.
Forbes stopping as Dos Santos. Bezecourt chipping into space. Here comes the press from New York. Handled by the Riverhounds.
Yeah, what would you say? You like that prediction of 1-1?
Looks good so far. Looks like a goal is going to be pretty hard to come by.
Yeah, the intensity is there. I mean, every single ball is being fought for and challenged. I mean, no question about the commitment of both teams.
Kofi with a solid win to restart it for New York. They'll give possession back, however, with a long ball as we enter the 63rd minute. Reserve players continuing to warm for both teams.
Kofi, for me, has been good. He's gotten out of a lot of tight spaces tonight. He's retained possession of the ball. He's won balls. He's challenged. He's been good tonight.
He's an interesting player. As you look at him, bad challenge here. We're a little lazy and sloppy coming in on Dos Santos. Former member of the University of Virginia. He'll get a yellow card. DC United homegrown player. Was picked up late in last season by New York Red Bull. He's on the MLS roster, but has spent his time here with New York Red Bull too.
Anytime you're late and your foot's that high, you're in danger of getting a yellow card. And Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they don't mind slowing the game down. I think a point on the road, a point especially here, is a good point for them.
They'll spread players across the 18-yard line. Forbes chipping in. First ball handled, second one deflected. A dangerous deflection that will give the Riverhounds a corner.
Greenspan again. He's proven too tough to mark. And really good strike, really goes for it. I think that's going to give Laurel something to think about if it gets through those bodies.
It's been the back post that most of these corners from Pittsburgh where they have been most dangerous.
Yeah, that's right. And for sure, they've been targeting that back post.
Forbes to hit. Down for Greenspan, handled by Lauro. Initially looked like he wanted to start
a counter, yeah.
Yep.
I'd love to see one. I'd love to see a counter, but both teams just closing the spaces so well. Spacing looks a lot better now. The two center backs, 20, 30 yards apart. You see Luba here. He's in the wing. He's starting to stretch the lines. Cheap giveaway from Kilwine, though.
Here comes Kerr. High arcing ball into the box. Dos Santos will look to run it down. Throw in for New York. Pittsburgh has a substitution getting up and ready. Some last-minute instructions from head coach Bob Lilly.
Greenspan again into the middle of the field to Forbes. Good bit of play here now. Dover wins a corner kick, but again, final product not there. He had a chance to put that in the box or to even strike it. Oh, see here, these set pieces have proven to be really difficult for the New York Rebel too.
66th minute.
And you can see how deliberately slow Pittsburgh Riverhounds are. And trying to take the sting out of the game.
Forbes to hit. That time, ball went to the near post. Knocked around a couple of times. Finally tapped out by Stroud. Bezecourt able to clear. Stroud to run it down. In the box for Morton.
Get a little glimpse of Vince Bezecourt, how special he could be in tight spaces, but that time doesn't come off.
Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Forbes dispossessed by Stroud. They've got Barlow over the top. Morton a little bit out of place. Barlow inside the box, takes a shot, and a kick save is made by Morton.
So much to talk about in this play.
A missed foul maybe started the whole thing.
Missed foul, no question about it. And then Tom Barlow showing some real speed here. Great first touch, straight to the goal. And awesome save, awesome kick save from Kyle Morton to make himself big. But Tom Barlow, if you're a striker out there, watch this guy play. He's on the last man. He's fast. He's direct. And just to get in that position from where he was, really, really good. And it required an amazing save from Kyle Morton.
See the substitution waiting to come on for Pittsburgh.
Mertz on his way out, yeah.
Anthony Velarda coming on. Velarda most recently with Fresno Pacific University, just 23 years old. Not much for New York to deal with on that corner offensively, but they do get themselves another. Whip towards the back bar. Duncan will run it down. Chipped into the air. Open net right now if Fernandez can find it.
Naomi Fernandez trying a difficult skill in a difficult situation there. It doesn't come off for him. Kyle Morton makes a big save on the play before, then this time comes out, doesn't win the ball. I think if you're a goalkeeper and you're coming out to get the ball, you've got to get the ball. You've got to either punch it or catch it.
We've only seen that one substitution from either team as we move into the last 20.
Yeah, New York Rebel 2 have been lured into playing the Pittsburgh Riverhound style. It's really slow, really deliberate. I mean, it's just because there's not much space and there's nowhere to go, so there's no reason to rush or anything. And so Pittsburgh Riverhounds, away from home, 1-1, are getting exactly what they want, I think, right now. A slow, tight game.
They've got 8 draws on the season already. At this point, they'd be happy for a 9th. Kofi, Duncan. Gives it away in space. Luba, too fancy with the drop off, and here comes Brett. Top of the 18, takes a shot, didn't get enough on it. And Laura with an easy save.
Yeah, Nico Brett there, he sniffs that one out and goes around the last defender. I think I would like to see him keep going. I'd like to see him keep going more direct, sort of like Tom Barlow did in the last play. More directly to the goal, cutting your defender off. A lot of really huge plays that, you don't always need to be the fastest, but if you cut in front of the defender once you beat him, he's got no way to get to you. If you cut his path off. I think he could have done a better job at that.
Just missing Barlow's Greenspan getting in the way of it.
And then, when you decide to pull up and finish, then you need to hit it a little bit, better than that, harder into the corners, and it was right at Laura.
Duncan with speed down the right side, looking to draw a foul that will not come.
There's been little windows of this game where it opens up for just for 30 seconds, and then it closes back up. And that's credit to the organization of both teams.
Bezecourt, Stroud, Luba.
I love that. I love that play,
We've been waiting for that all night.
Yeah, Stroud coming inside just a little bit, not too much. Coming inside, Luba running around him. It always creates a lot of uncertainties for the other team. It stretches the back line out. It's very uncomfortable to defend against, and we haven't seen enough of it.
Stroud set to take a corner. It'll come in the 73rd minute. Morton had to knock it down at the last second. It took an odd deflection towards the goal line.
Sean Nealis, I think, was the man on the end of that. Really good to direct that. He was sort of running away from the goal and sort of flicked it backwards onto the goal. Good save, good header. We'll see it here again. Good ball across. Yeah, he's going away from it. He's done well to even get any pace and power towards the goal there. And it's actually a routine save.
New York Red Bull 2 getting a substitution ready. That is Sebastian Elney, who we talked about at halftime as our get-to-know player. 23 years old. He'll come in, try and give New York a little offensive punch. Has 4 goals on the season. Be interested to see who he comes on for. Barlow leaving it for Stroud.
Love that from Barlow.
Fernandez for Bezecourt, and his deflection will give Pittsburgh a goal kick.
Yeah, it hasn't come off for him. But again.
So Fernandez coming out, and it will be Elney who will come on.
I think Omir Fernandez, he struggled a bit tonight. Didn't look comfortable in the formation. Didn't look comfortable playing in tight spaces. So it was a difficult night for him. We'll see Elney now. Elney always brings pace and power and work rate to the team. So we'll see that now from him, I'm sure. You know, again, last play, Tom Barlow lays the ball off, center forward, lays the ball off. The speed at which he lays it off and spins to get himself in the box to get a goal, fantastic.
Dos Santos through a pack. Deflected ball comes to Brett. Brett pulls it to his left foot. He's got Lauro moving and shanks it over the top of the bar. It did take a deflection, so it'll be a corner.
Unbelievable play. He's done so well to get himself in that situation, and then he cuts off the path, like I just mentioned before. He does cut off the path of, I think it's Kilwine in this situation. He gets in front of him, and then this bit of play is fantastic. That chop, and then there he's got to pick his corner and finish it. He's done. Goes one chop too many. And he's going to want that one back. But he does fantastic to create that space with the first chop. And then with his left foot, maybe he's just not comfortable in that left foot. And he wants to get it back on his right. But I think he wants that one back.
These corners have been challenging. Looking again for Greenspan right at the top of the 6-yard box. Good defensive play by Duncan to restart things here for New York. Can they counter?
Both teams looking for a knockout punch here late in the game.
Pittsburgh has 2 substitutions set to come on. Mohamed Dabo will come on. He wears number 21. And Christian Valesky will come on. Kerr coming off, Dos Santos coming off.
Yeah, I think Kerr and Dos Santos had a tough night. Kerr especially, couldn't really get anything going.
Dabo 23 from Senegal. Valesky 26, most recently with OKC. Sliding challenge as Valesky was almost.
Yeah, Kilwine, great challenge. Great defending. He's made a couple big plays tonight in the back. I think both sets of center backs should be very proud of their play tonight.
Bezecourt dispossessed. One back by Luba. Stroud looking over the top for Barlow. One hopped into Morton.
I've been impressed with Stroud. I've been impressed with Forbes. I think he's had some good maneuvers and some good play. He has his head up. He's been clever on the ball.
There's Valesky again. Corner of the box right side. His touch will take him down as he tries to sneak it into the near post.
Valesky there, he's done so well to be aggressive and go to the goal. And then you've got to be thinking about dishing it off from that angle, I think. In the end, his finish was really poor.
Clearly bringing Valesky on for Bob Lilly at this juncture, indicating that he might think there's 3 points out there to be had.
Yeah, I love this run, and then the finish is just not there, not to the quality of the run and the idea that I'm sure he had in his head.
Does have 3 goals on the season. Tune in to ESPN News on August 21st at 7 p.m. Elney doing battle inside, grabbed by Morton. Wednesday night soccer matchup a week from tonight between North Carolina FC and the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Playoff positioning battle starting to heat up. See it all August 21st at 7 p.m. Wednesday night soccer on ESPN News. We've seen a good one so far. Matt Harmon, Mike Grella. Here comes New York. Stroud in space against Greenspan. Looking for help. Bezecourt drops it back to Duncan.
You like Duncan to be a little higher there. It's too late to get up the field.
Lemma working it for Luba. That's deflected out by Dover. And it will get New York a corner. 79th minute. Morton with an easy save off his 6-yard line.
This has been, in a lot of ways, a very interesting game. You know, it opens up for a second, closes back up. Both teams, you know, playing really tight. Then they open up and they take shots at each other, and it's been played at a relatively high level, I would say. Very smart, and it's been coached very well.
Second half, much more entertaining to watch than that first half.
Absolutely. I think they are very similar, but it's definitely been a little bit more intense in the second half. Slightly more open in certain windows of the game. But it's been very similar theme first and second half. You know, the goals come from, one goal comes from sort of a defensive error, mistake, giveaway in the back, and the other goal comes from a set piece. And it's been that kind of game where it's been really tight and closed, and goals are going to come from a chippy sort of play, I think.
Just about 10 in stoppage time remaining. We hit the 81st minute. You have to think chances will be few and far between in this last block of time. Elney trying to come forward. Bezecourt has Barlow across the field if he can get it to him. Overlapping run from Stroud. Stroud, top of the 18. His touch and shot. Not enough on it to get through Greenspan and then Morton.
I think we may see a goal now. It's certainly opened up now in the last 5 minutes, because here's the chance here. You see Stroud, and what Stroud tries to do here is he tries to play it through his legs into the far post. He just doesn't get it far enough right. So, but good intentions, and I think it's the right idea. But you know, because it's coached so well, both sets of coaches are letting their, both teams can sort of sense that there may be something more in the game for them now, and they're starting to open up and play a little bit more, and the width is a little bit better, and they're creating more chances. So there could be a goal in the next few minutes.
New York Red Bull 2 has only made the one substitution, with Elney coming on for Fernandez. It looks as if a second player is being called down. Drop for Loro, top of the 18.
Again, there, the importance of the ball. Loro floats it into Luba, and by the time he gets there, he's already closed down. He's got to go backwards, and they're in a situation they don't want to be in. If he drives that ball, Luba can turn and go.
Luba here, good ball forward for Stroud. Onside, looked across for Barlow. He got knocked off of his run just a bit, and it will result in a goal kick.
Yeah, this is standard. This is par for the course for New York Red Bull and how they score goals. They get the running behind, ball across the face of the goal. Actually, really surprised Tom Barlow's not there, because he knows that's going to happen. He's seen it a million times. So surprised that he gets there a little late and a little bit too close to the near post.
Here comes Ben Mines.
Vince Bezecourt, in flashes you could see how talented of a player he is, and you could see that his potential. But tonight, tough game for him. Not a lot of space for him to operate, and a little bit too physical for him.
Mines with fresh legs that John Wallenick will hope helps New York with this late goal. Brett poking Valesky. It has to get dropped back for Loro.
Really sloppy, uncharacteristic play from the New York Red Bull, too. Almost got to taste their own medicine there. Almost got picked off at the back.
Duncan up the right flank. Duncan, good going forward. Duncan keeps it on. Red Bull 2 was looking for a foul.
And this game is super open now. Just right in the final minutes. Quick little 3v2 here.
Direct run for Brett. He's going to get to it. Brett's going to get the shot, and he's going to get the goal for Pittsburgh.
And they were undefeated. New York Red Bull here were undefeated against Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and I don't know if that's going to last any longer. That chop back, so effective, and this time he doesn't chop it again. He just slots it.
Nico Brett with his 8th of the year. New York Red Bull 2 left with numbers. You can see it was almost a 3-on-1 that Nealis had to deal with.
Yeah, sort of the Achilles heel of New York Red Bull 2 is that counterattack. But great chop back here. There's not much Sean Nealis can do. Not even Lauro. That chop back sort of strands both of them. And then it's pretty simple from there. Good low finish. But sort of the Achilles heel again comes back and bites New York Red Bull 2. That counterattack, they get a little too open, a little too excited to try to throw that knockout blow. And on a counterattack, they receive what looks like in this game a knockout blow.
Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC goal. Scored by number 9, Nico Brett. The assistant number 15, Anthony Velarde. In the 85th minute. Brett from Velarde in the 85th minute.
Yeah, you've got to say, looking back at the game, really professional performance from Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They never lost their shape or their identity. They stuck with it, got themselves back in the game with a set-piece goal, and then, you know, in the last 10, 15 minutes, they have been on top with a few really dangerous chances from counterattacks.
They've been extremely dangerous on set pieces all night. Got their first goal that way. Here's Dover. Goal kick coming. Lauro will try and get it up and going as we hit the last 4.
I've really enjoyed watching Dover play with Forbes. Fantastic. Nico Brett. Really good. They've been really good tonight.
Luba.
Yeah, not many options for Luba to play in there. Everyone's sort of on the same page. No one running in behind for him.
More numbers here for Pittsburgh. In space, Valesky.
Yeah, good bit of play, and you got to respect the way Valesky runs at that ball. I mean, he really picks up a lot of pace there, and is direct. He's difficult to play against, but again, the pass that unlocks New York Red Bull 2 in the midfield there is from Forbes. He's been fantastic tonight. He's played really well.
'88th minute. Valesky the target on that corner. Pittsburgh pretty content to leave a lot of numbers back behind the ball. New York does have a substitution up.
And this will end the eight unbeaten streak for New York Red Bull 2.
John Tolkien, the Academy product, coming in for the last few.
And I'm assuming he's coming in at left back here for Luba. We heard from John that he's been sick for a few days, so interesting to see. But I'm sure he can. I'm sure he's got 5 to 6 minutes in the tank for the end of this game, and his quality could unlock the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, no question about it.
Almost think he would be told he's got a free pass to push forward.
Absolutely, you would think so at this point in the game, in this current situation.
Lemma has to fight off the challenge. Not much time remaining here. We're in the 89th minute. Duncan 20 yards out. On the sideline, Mines. Good direct ball coming across. It's there in the box. Stroud couldn't get to it in time. Second shot attempt by Lemma offline.
Yeah, and Lemma's eyes just came out of his head there when he saw that ball roll into him. It's, you train that type of shot all the time, but, when you get a little too excited and get a little too quick on it. You see here, the ball just comes right out to him, and it's bobbling just a little bit on the turf, coming from a strange angle, difficult one, but I think top priority in a strike like that is to hit the target in any way possible. Just hit the target.
Kofi through traffic. Elney able to get a deflection. It'll be a Pittsburgh throw. Riverhounds will use every second they can to go down, pick up the ball, and then put it back in play.
This is a hard-fought match tonight. I mean, you could see players drenched. I mean, they've covered a lot of ground tonight, and they've been in such a tough game.
Temperature-wise, not bad, but it is extremely humid. 3 minutes of stoppage time. That's where we sit. Lemma losing it. Duncan poking at it to try and win it back. Big switch coming across for
really fantastic pass.
Velarda. Overlapping run here by Dover.
And they win the corner. But awesome pass from Forbes with his weak foot there. Understanding the play. Understanding Dover was the third man running in that play.
Another slow-moving corner here by Pittsburgh to try and work stoppage time. Tolkien and Elney both trying to win it. Pittsburgh comes away with it. New York here with no other alternative than to push numbers forward. Down a goal in stoppage time.
About a minute and a half.
Duncan coming forward. Lofts it over the top. It is able to be grabbed by Morton.
Yeah, fantastic performance from Pittsburgh Riverhounds. New York Rebel 2, they had a few chances. They couldn't really get much going. For me, the spacing was a little bit off today. I think they made it easier than they should have for Pittsburgh, but still, you can't take anything away from Pittsburgh. Really professional performance.
Kofi running in the traffic. Pittsburgh just trying to ice the rest of the clock. Elney with a foul that will draw him a card on Forbes.
Yeah, for me, it's a toss-up for man of the match between Forbes and Nico Brett. I think both were fantastic. I think they showed a high soccer IQ tonight. Very good with the ball, and they were the determining factor in the results. I think.
Forbes will just try and, I would think, tap it off. Pittsburgh bench yelling to the referee that the 3 minutes it up. It is, and the Riverhounds come east and get a big 3 points to sweep the season series. They beat New York Red Bull 2 by a score of 2-1. Their 11th win of the season. They make it a little tighter in the Eastern Conference. You said a professional performance. I think that's a perfect way to sum it up.
Yeah, 3 points away from home, away at New York Red Bull 2 is really good. 3 points. It's almost like 6 points, to be honest. And they stuck with it. You know, they gave up that first goal that was pretty cheap, and then they stuck with it the rest of the way. Should be really proud of themselves tonight.
We'll come back to wrap it up. We've got final stats and final reactions from this one. A big win on the road for Pittsburgh. They beat New York Red Bull 2-1.
Lemma gets it back. He will take a strike.
Played in. Laurel gets a hand to it.
Denied by Laurel from point blank.
He's standing on his head right now.
He hands it to Lima and a hat trick.
Barlow putting it in, back of the net. Deposited in by Jared Stroud. New York puts the exclamation point on this one tonight.
Points on the road, always difficult to come by, especially at this point of the season for New York Red Bull 2. The last time they lost, June 22nd in Pittsburgh. That leads us to tonight here on the 14th of August. Their next loss against the same team, the Riverhounds. 2-1, possession, throw that maybe number out the door. Quality chances, though, Mike. You'd have to say Pittsburgh had the better of it.
Yeah, absolutely. They had the better of the chances. They had the better of the game ultimately, even though the possession doesn't say that. And for New York Red Bulls, too, they hate to play against teams that are compact, tight, don't make a lot of mistakes, and, you know, force you to break them down. They don't want to play. They want to play in an open game where they can pick balls off and go straight to goal. So this is a difficult team for them to play against.
And you'd have to maybe think you take this game as a little bit of a learning experience as you move into late August, September, playoffs come October.
It's something that the New York Red Bull organization has to figure out, because when teams sit back and make it difficult for them, they struggle a lot, you know, and they need to learn how to play in games that are not so open, I think. But for Pittsburgh, really fantastic. Some really key players that were a lot of quality, a lot of high soccer IQ for them.
For Mike Grella, I'm Matt Harmon. Thanks so much for spending your Wednesday night with us. Pittsburgh, a 2-1 winner over New York Red Bull 2.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.